What's going on, everybody? It's Dealer Gaming here, back again with another episode of the RDX podcast, a weekly show where we cover all the latest and greatest topics. This week, Xbox One X sales, pretty unusual PS5 news. So if you're a Sony guy, hey, bear with us. Of course, most of our topics have to do with Xbox One X gaming news in that realm. I want to say thanks to everybody joining us already, and of course, we've got a patron guest here today. So I'm going to start by introducing Titan Drago. A lot of you guys might have saw one of his kind of parody songs I shouted out a few weeks ago. And, of course, we're having him on the show this week, man. How you been? And, of course, where can people find you on YouTube and Twitter?
Thanks, man. I'm on everything at Titan Drago, YouTube, Twitter.
So pretty easy to find you.
Yep. Piece of cake.
Right. Good shit. I look forward to getting your opinions on a lot of the topics. Colt Eastwood, very interesting day for you. How you been, bro?
Oh my gosh, what a day. I was at work, and about 2 o'clock, I got a message that my Scorpio finally came to my front door, and I just like ran by my work. I'm like, I'm leaving, I'm going home.
So for those who don't know, you just got your X1 X today, a week later.
Yeah. The short story is the second day of Gamescom, Walmart was the only one that had it, the Scorpio edition, and I've ordered with them a ton of times, so that's where I went, and they sat on my order for 8 days. But luckily last Friday I decided to do a backup plan. I ordered from Newegg, and here it is, Tuesday afternoon. It's sitting here downloading all my games right now.
Woo! We've already got almost 400 people tuning in for your little story there, Colt. So hit that like button, guys. Thanks for showing up. We appreciate the support. Luke, how have you been? And, of course, what's new with you?
Hey, man, I've been really, really good. Welcome to our patron guest. Things are looking up. Things are going really well. Colt, I'm so happy you got your console. You know, he was on suicide watch. So, I'm glad that we're going to stop getting DMs about that.
Yeah. And, of course, Fonzarelli, great video yesterday, bud. How you been?
I've been great, man. This X has been a great console, man. I got to tell you, I've been playing a lot of it, and I'm digging it.
Mm-hmm. Well, keep that lotion out because we're going to keep talking about this X, actually, because I want to get everyone's, and of course, this goes to those in the chat. You guys could be playing the thing right now, but you show up here, and we appreciate it. We want to know what you think about the console so far as well. Nitpicks, I'm hard pressed to find any, but as of right now, guys, what are your thoughts on this thing, Fonz, in terms of the visuals, stuff like that?
Oh man, it looks great. All the games that I've thrown at it, what impresses me the most with the visuals? It's the clarity. It's like Xbox has just finally got rid of that Vaseline that was all over my games on Xbox, and that it's finally clear and crystal clear. It's beautiful, and
so you're enjoying the resolution.
I'm enjoying those textures on some of these games. I got to tell you, Gears of War 4. My God, at 60 frames with those textures, beautiful game, just phenomenal. It's a different game, honestly. Assassin's Creed is everything right now. I'm loving that game. Of course, that's at 30 frames, but still, it looks so good. And from what I hear, it's basically like the PC version because hardly anybody can get it to run at 60 frames anyway on the PC version. So, hey,
it's damn close.
It's amazing.
So it'd be safe to say that you're really enjoying the damn thing, huh?
Yeah. I think one of the things that I think isn't pushed enough, except for me, and you've probably heard it from me on Twitter and everything, is this DVR. My God, this DVR is amazing, guys. I love it, and I'm gonna do a video where I talk
about this DVR for like 10 minutes.
Oh man,
a party.
I'm gonna do a comparison video between the highest settings in the PS4 Pro and the highest settings in the DVR in the Xbox One X because it's downright laughable.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah. And it's sad. And I'm not doing it to trash PS4. What I'm doing it for is just to show you the quality of the X on this DVR. It's amazing.
I'm telling you, man, that HEVC 4K 60 capture is the real deal. It really does do it. And let's say you're in a cutscene, the cutscene's 30 frames, and then it goes to gameplay, and the gameplay is 60. That clip, there is no choosing to record in 60. It does it automatically. You don't even have an option. So if there's 60 on the screen, it's going to show you 60 and vice versa. It's absolutely great. Drago, we're going to get your opinion for sure. Papa, Lethal Papa, I talked to him earlier. He was just like, does a bear shit in the woods? Of course. I love this thing. A lot of people are getting similar impressions. Luca, I know you spent a substantial amount of time with this thing so far. What do you think?
Oh, I love it, man. It's amazing. It's phenomenal. Like seeing how Destiny looks in comparison. Because I didn't okay. All right. So I was looking at screenshots, right? Just going through my my captures, and then I noticed that I had one from 38 days ago, and then I had one like from recently, and I was like, holy shit, I can't believe this is the same game, and Destiny's not even patched yet. So I'm really impressed. I'm really happy with my purchase. It was definitely worth it for me, especially since I was gaming on a 720p television until recently. So yeah, I'm really happy. I'm really happy.
That's good. That's good. Colt, what have you gotten into so far? I know you just got it today, but I know you've done something on this thing.
Not much. I've been messing around with it. I was trying to get everything set up. I set up my account with my game share buddy. I bought Wolfenstein and Battlefront 2 microtransactions just like 10 minutes ago. I will happily play that game in the state it's in. And yeah, I've been doing all that. And I was like, holy crap, I got to do the podcast. I totally forgot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't blame you. You just got an X1X a week after watching everyone else do weird shit to theirs.
I haven't seen anything. I loaded up Overwatch for 2 seconds to make sure everything was working right. I loaded up Gears 4 for like 10 seconds. I haven't had time to even see anything yet. It's crazy.
Yeah. What about Assassin's Creed? Do you have that?
It's installing right now. It's at like 70% when the thing started. So
he's got a lot of good and new, amazing looking games just ready to go. He can't wait to get out of this fucking podcast.
Yeah, because I waited on Creed and Wolfenstein for the X. So yeah, that extra week on my order was really crummy.
Yeah. So Drago, man, thanks for joining us. You got an Xbox One X as of right now?
Absolutely.
What do you think, brother?
Oh man, it's phenomenal. I haven't gotten a chance to mess with the recording feature too much yet, but
you're gonna love it for your channel, man. It's top notch.
Yeah, the two main games I've played so far have been Shadow of War and Smite in 4K HDR. You know, they did a update to make Smite take it from 30 frames to 60 frames, and that was like a different game. Mm-hmm. And now 4K 60 HDR. It's a new game again. I played 3 generations of that game on one system. That's awesome.
So you played a lot of Shadow of War on the S. What did you think about those ridiculously high resolution textures on the X?
I mean, it was all right, but it
was all right.
On the One X, on the One X, there's like, quote, a crap ton more going on screen. I mean, you just can't compare the two.
Yeah, it really adds to the immersion factor. I'm with you, man. I'm very impressed. Believe it or not, the game I'm playing, I've got every new game there is. The game I just want to play right now is Rise of the Tomb Raider in 60 frames per second. It's got the 31 gigabyte 4K texture pack installed. It looks next level. Man, I just feel like I'm playing on a really good gaming PC right now with some of these modes, especially. It does drop some frames in the hub world, but it's locked probably, like the developer said, 90% of the time. So I've been playing a little bit of everything, but here lately, Rise of the Tomb Raider is where it's at for me. Any dislikes real quick from anyone in the panel? Anybody find anything they don't like?
Yeah, but it's getting addressed. That's the Blu-ray player. The raised black levels in the playback of movies, but that's getting addressed in the next couple of days. Mike Ibarra came out on Twitter and said so that's good. So there's going to be a fix for those that use that. So
my issue is, and it's not an issue with the console itself, it's just my controller isn't working very well, which is fine. It's whatever. It's not like I was going to use it, but it kind of sucks at the same time, you know. But that's about it. I haven't had, like, other than the second day, I haven't had any real issues with the system. The second day, I couldn't load my games for some reason. I was on the phone for all day, but we figured it out. But for the most part, it's great. I haven't had any problems.
Mm-hmm. Luca, you know that controller issue? I've heard of a lot of people getting broken controllers out of the box for the Scorpio edition.
That's weird, right?
Yeah.
I mean, at least it's the system. That's something to think about.
And if you're having any additional crashes or inconsistencies, keep in mind it's literally week 2 of the console's lifespan. They're going to have updates for things like that. I haven't had any, but I've also got the games I'm playing on the internal drive, which I think externals are kind of the cause of this sometimes, because I'll have somebody switch it to the internal and they won't have the same issues. So keep that in mind. You got games crashing or acting kind of funny, try it on the internal and see where that gets you.
Let me ask you something about that, dealer. You said the external might be an issue for some. Now, do you think that's something that can be fixed via software patch or like
I think all of it can be fixed. Man, when I was in the preview program, my box wouldn't even read discs. And the same with the Kinect. My Kinect stopped working. Left it. My disc started working. My Kinect started working. Software controls all hardware. So I think through updates, they can pretty much fix almost anything. As a matter of fact, we're going to talk about some of the issues with the X1X regarding some people having their stuff broken or bricked or whatever's happening. And one of my buddies had that problem. I was like, wow, that's weird. Because keep in mind, no matter how many people want to make these videos or re-upload other people's videos or compilations of problems with this thing, it is a very small issue. Keep in mind, this thing probably sold, a whole truckload. We'll just say that. We're going to get into the numbers later. But there's people having some of these issues. It is rare. But Microsoft can apparently fix some of these issues remotely over the internet. So they go in and through Xbox Live and try to fix that issue with your Xbox over the internet, which is a thing. I heard that somebody said Microsoft were doing that. So that's interesting as well. But I want to talk about Star Wars Battlefront 2 real quick. We all know the game looks amazing. It runs phenomenally on the X. It's absolutely one of the better looking games I've seen in my life on a $500 console. It looks better than games I've seen on my rig that I put in thousands of dollars into. What do you guys think about this microtransaction stuff going on before I get into the full details? Give me your initial kind of thoughts on this, Fonz, because I know you hate these.
Well, I'm going to keep it short and sweet here, since I talk on it at length so many times here. It sucks. Okay, I don't like any microtransactions at all, but it is what it is. It's here, but it sucks. Next.
Okay. Next. Hey, we got to give a shout out to 500 people watching this live. We appreciate it, guys. Hit that like button, retweet the podcast, do what you do. You guys always do an amazing job at getting that stuff out there. So here's the problem with the microtransactions, and I'm going to go into the rest of the opinions here. And like I said, chat, let us know what you think as well. The microtransactions are such that you can buy crystals to buy crates. In those crates, you can get upgraded star cards after you play a certain amount. And, it's not going to make a bad player beat a good player. That'll never happen. But what it will do is when two identically skilled players, ideally, go up against one another, but one of them has a star card they paid for, and the other guy hasn't, he's obviously put a lot of time in, but he doesn't have it yet. He didn't pay money for it. This other guy could have potentially a few seconds off of a grenade cooldown that could give him an advantage. Now, to me, I'm like, I'm not that competitive in these types of games. But I'm not everyone. I know everyone's got their own perspectives and opinions on this. So that's one reason that people are kind of mad, because you can get an advantage that way. It is not pay to win to me. I don't know what people call that pay to win, but I guess you could win after you paid for it, technically. The other issue is Jedis like Darth Vader were like 60,000 credits in the game. And according to some people, that would be about 40 hours of gameplay to unlock him if you were to not spend any money on anything else in the game. And also keep in mind that that's not counting the challenges and the stuff that gives you more credits. That's just raw gameplay time. They calculated the numbers. Now they've dropped that to, I think, 15,000 credits because of the outrage. There's a lot of complaining going on here lately. I understand the game's got some issues for sure, but I kind of look forward to I got what they were saying. They were saying, hey, we did this because when you unlock them, you'll be one, it'll be rare. It'll be more rare to see Darth Vader. And of course, that guy's a badass. He's played the hell out of the game. What do you guys think about this, Colt?
Well, they said they just reduced that Darth Vader, like those big hero cooldowns, by 75%, which is either way you look at it. Like my buddy was complaining, like, yeah, but they still they balance out something else, so they still kind of get their cake and eat it too. But it does show that sometimes when the gamers are griping, the squeaky wheel gets the grease, and it sounds like the complaining has actually come to fruition, and they are trying to change it because they don't want to kill their game with this bad press. So at least they are trying to do something. And for someone like me, and I know, Dealer, you kind of align with me, like the microtransactions don't affect you enough to not buy the game. It's just good that they're still doing something about it.
Yeah, I mean, the most worrying thing is the trend and how that could set precedents for like the future, right? How developers look at how they can get away with things. Because you give an inch, they take a mile. That's the rule, and we've seen it over the past 4 years. Loot crates are in everything now. So, Luca, what do you think about this?
I think, it's EA being shady once again. I am going to take a wait and see approach with this game. I'm not getting it, so it doesn't affect me. I'm not worried about it, but I'm hearing like a lot of conflicting things. Like one of my friends says, "Oh, it's fine. It's fine." Like I think people are complaining too much. And then other people are really upset about it. So I'm just kind of like, I don't know. There's like a lot of information coming out and I don't know what's actually going to stick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Drago, you planning on getting this, bro?
All right, hold on, let me clean up my puke over here. We're talking too much about EA.
You threw.
I mean, they're screwing the pooch every way lately, it seems like, personally. I mean, if Dark Plagueis created Anakin Skywalker, then what demonic freak created EA, I mean,
I don't know, man.
Big sinister icon better have the initials EA in it. I mean,
Darth EA. Darth EA instead of a lightsaber, he runs around with a dildo.
Might as well.
That'd be appropriate
with debit card slots on it.
For sure. I'm hearing that this game is about less than 5 hours for the campaign.
So yeah.
Indy said Drago told me he was going to buy it.
Yeah, I pre-ordered it. I'm like regretting it with all the new
you fucking fraud.
Nah, we'll play. We'll play anyway. Yeah, did you guys hear that EA has the most downvoted post in all of Reddit history right now?
Yeah.
Yep. 600,000 downvotes.
Oh my God.
EA deserves it though. So
yeah, they do.
Congrats, EA.
Yeah, good job. Hey, you know what? I'm going to buy the game. You know why? I'm going to be more optimistic than most is because they literally criticized and penalized Forza on Metacritic and reviews for having non-existent microtransactions. They absolutely destroyed Shadow of War, a really good game, for microtransactions that don't hardly affect the game if you just play the game how you normally would. And I do mean how you normally would.
Yes.
It's not a perfect game, but it is not what they said it was before it came out. And I'm going to wait and see how this turns out. I think that's the smart thing to do. I'm going to play it. Now, try to enjoy it.
The three, Titan and Dealer and I, we've gone all the way to the end on Shadow of War. And I finished the game with like 26,000 coins. And you can buy loot crates with the in-game coins you earn from playing the game. And whenever you do like a siege,
just go out and get the captains yourself,
Yes. But if you actually wanted to buy the loot crates with your in-game currency you earn, after one siege, let's say you spend 2,000 of your 26,000, because I've done this. If you spend 2,000 of your 26,000 coins on loot crates to do a siege, after the siege is over, you've earned over 2,000. So you're still at like this large amount of coins. You would never need to spend real money ever. Like I don't understand how you would, unless you just wanted to try spending your debit card.
Yeah. I personally like people speaking out against these microtransactions because it is catching the developers' ears, and they are at least doing something about it. Yeah. Because I have one word for everybody out there: Anthem. Remember that. Remember that. When that comes out, everybody's waiting for this game with bated breath. But when it comes out, it's going to be loaded with microtransactions. Mark my words. So
it's like The Division. Yeah.
Well, what about the next Respawn game?
What do they have? Oh, the next Titanfall 3
Respawn for $400 million.
Hey, I got to give a shout out to I Am Valerian, man. Thanks for joining us. Geez, you're right, man. What about the next Respawn game? I heard they were working on a Star Wars game now or something.
Yeah, EA bought them for $400 million.
Yep.
You're gonna make that back no time with microtransactions.
In no time at all. I mean, Take-Two said it was 42% of the revenue last quarter, microtransactions. So
Jeez, quit buying them. Quit it.
Everyone stop.
Yeah, let's think about that. I got to give a shout out to what is it? Visional Power, man. He wanted to shout out on Twitter. I'm a pretty nice guy, so there you go. Thanks for checking out the show. Titanfall 2. Tell us your story about Digital Foundry. You talked to John on Twitter. What did he say about this patch? What's going on there?
Yeah, that John Liverman guy is so cool. He's talking to the community pretty often. I just sent a tweet out and said, "Hey, are you guys going to reanalyze the new patch for Titanfall, or have you just checked it out to see how it is?" You know, because I didn't want to push him to make a video. And he goes, "Yeah, Dave's working on it. It's coming out tomorrow." So what? I don't know. We don't know exactly. Gaming Bolt said that Titanfall 2 has these were their words, a huge resolution gulf compared to the Pro right now, because they're looking at the newer patch.
Now
and
you
they're just looking at it with their eyeballs.
You remember when Digital Foundry analyzed the game with the first X patch? Basically, the game ran as high as 6K resolution, super sampled that down to your 4K TV. So you saw 4K with super sampling of 6K. Basically, it was very clear, very sharp, ridiculous for a console to do in any way. Since then, they've patched it with, I think, a 23 megabyte patch. And that's supposed to reduce the amount of scaling. That's how I knew it was unoptimized and it was just a rough patch, because nothing should scale from 6K all the way down to 1200p. Nothing. That just means that they didn't optimize it. They didn't, they just threw it in there. They had enough power. It did what it did. They weren't worried about it. Well, Digital Foundry called them out on it with their video. They patched it. Now they're analyzing the new patch version. A lot of the Sony guys saying, well, look there, the X is worse than that. First off, it was never worse. It was just less consistent with its best resolution. But overall, I think it was still a better version, even though it ran at 1200 something p sometimes. That wasn't the most common resolution. So now it should really be a step above. I think it's cool that Respawn reacted that fast.
Yeah, it's a little better. I've checked it out. It's a little better than the Pro version. I have both.
Yeah, you've tried both. Tell us about that.
Yep. The resolution, it's bumped up a bit. I didn't play enough to really see any frame drops or anything in the Pro version or the X version. They both played great, but it's just that extra little bit of clarity you can tell on the X.
Hey, we got a super chat donor there, Spookman. He says microtransactions be damned. Hello, everybody. What's going on, man? Thanks, we appreciate it. You've tried both. Tell us about Ghost Recon on the Pro. We know that Ghost Recon on the X wasn't really a maximum effort patch. That's pretty much proof by the same textures and everything the Pro has. Let us know what you saw, the difference there.
Again, it comes down to a little bit more resolution, more clarity when I'm looking at certain things, objects on the ground or the textures and stuff. It just looks a little bit more clear, and then the frame rates, though, that's where it really is much better than the Pro version. I'm having more frame dips and stuff when I'm doing things on screen that's more chaotic, more enemies on screen fighting, driving through enemies and stuff. I see a little bit more frame drips and stuff, dips in the Pro version, where I don't see it at all in the X version. So I don't know if they've locked it at 30 on the X version, but it feels like it.
Yeah, it felt really good. The game actually looks pretty good, and we've said that about the Pro in the past. The game looks a lot better on the Pro. So
I told you I'm having an easier time controlling the cars and the motorcycles and everything on the X version, and I don't know exactly why, because I'm not noticing the frames dipping or anything on the Pro when this is happening, but it's harder to control on the Pro version, and it's not the controller, because I'm used to the DualShock, and I love the DualShock. But
you spent most of your time on the DualShock.
Yeah, it's just weird. It's something within the game that just it feels a bit off. I don't know what it is.
I played Ghost Recon Wildlands on another platform, which I won't name, and anytime I was driving in a vehicle, I would get like these frame stalls, and then I would just like run off the road or kill some pedestrian, and I had a hard time enjoying it on that platform.
We got some Battlefield fans in the chat. Yeah, they're noticing the additional pixel count of Battlefield 1 running on the X, because that game is dynamic. It ran at almost a 1080p on the Xbox One, and on the X, that's running at almost 1080p constantly now in the multiplayer with no patch at pretty much what is a locked frame rate. So that's the cool thing about the X. You're getting a lot of benefits. Drago, have you went back and played old games and noticed any kind of difference at all?
No, not really. I haven't played any of the old games.
You said, fuck it, I'm moving forward. All right.
well, Smite, but none of the old games without patches.
Yeah. What's going on, Fame?
Scratch that. I have played Battlefield 1. I have played that. And it runs like Call of Duty, really. It's like 60 frames smooth, it seems like.
Yeah, it's absolutely locked. By the way, I posted this on Twitter as well. City Skylines now runs and completely destroys 60 frames per second. Like, it feels like it wants to run at 1,000 frames per second. Witcher 3 looks dramatically better with its dynamic res and better texture filtering. This better old games thing is not a marketing ploy. It's real. Yep. It actually works. These games run and look better. It's crazy. Speaking of games that run and look better, you're getting Destiny 2 support on the X. It's supposed to be native 4K support with hopefully better, higher resolution assets. If not, you just know they chose not to use the RAM in the console. What do you think about this, Fonz, as a Destiny fangirl?
Well, I've got a love-hate relationship with Destiny right now, and I might not be going back to Destiny if they don't make some serious changes within the game. If that doesn't happen, I won't see these new textures and or new resolution. I won't see it.
Oh, you'll end up booting it up. You know you will.
No, actually, I don't even have it loaded on my console. So
wow.
Yep.
Well, just so you guys know, there is a tech demo available on Xbox One X. It's just a thing called Insects if you want to see HDR and 4K, and you can move all that stuff around. It's in the store. Just type Insects. It's a really small download. It's a really quick experience, but it's pretty neat. It's all in real time. And I thought it was pretty interesting. Colt, that's something you should download just to check it out, man.
Yeah, I forgot all about that.
So, like I said, Destiny 2 getting 4K support. Drago, you play Destiny? You like Destiny?
I played Destiny 1. Haven't played Destiny 2.
Okay, well,
I got burnt out after the first one, personally.
4K 60 FPS support coming to Overwatch in the Xbox One X. This should be a dramatically better experience for those that are fans of the game. Anybody here really a fan of Overwatch at all?
Not a fan.
I like it. I like it. It's a good game.
Okay, it's fun with friends.
I played the hell out of it on the Pro.
It's a pretty game. You got to give them that. Like, I played it with friends and had a good time, but I don't play it by myself.
Yeah, with friends,
but,
of course.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be native 4K dealer because it's obviously a 60 frames game. So they're talking native 4K, huh?
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna get questioned too much more after the last year, and then everything coming out in the wash. We were pretty fucking accurate. So. Just like what I said with the other day, Destiny should be native 4K if they apply themselves. I said the best you're getting on Battlefront 2 is a checkerboard 4K 2160p. That's what Battlefront 2 is running at. We're pretty accurate if you think about it. So it's going to look good. It should run at native 4K 60 FPS. And like many games in the X, it's going to have a more stable frame rate. I just figured maybe we had some Overwatch fans in here. We got a lot of people from the community in the chat, man. King's Blood, Famint, all you guys, thanks for checking us out. 600 plus people watching live. Hit that like button, guys. We appreciate it. Oh, man, something popped up on my phone just now. Okay. And now, this is something we can go in. This is mail, motherfucker. This is something we can kind of go in on. Parody is clearly not happening. Man, I was told for a substantial amount of time that parity was going to happen, and nobody would develop for the thing, and it would get no support, and it couldn't do 4K, and it'd be $1,000 and all this crap, and we don't see those people very often anymore. But here's some more proof that parity isn't happening. You got Wolfenstein 2 running at almost 5 million more pixels, and what people don't understand, it's just pixels. I can't tell a difference unless you get up on it. Well, you could tell when it was 900p versus 1080p. Keep that in mind. We remember, okay?
You can definitely tell a difference between 1440p and 2160p. You can definitely tell a difference. For my seating, I'm sitting about 6 feet away from my 65-inch television. I can tell a difference.
Yeah.
Yep. And like I said, they could see 900p and 1080p difference, and that's a much smaller gulf in pixel density. So let's just use that logic against them, So
there's a funny angle that they're trying to take with parity. Like, so pro games aren't Xbox games aren't going to be as dumbed down as the pro games. I'm like, yeah, you're right, they're not. And they said, yeah, but parity also means that these games aren't going to get any better than they can be with all this hardware. I'm like, what do you mean by that? And they said, well, you're not going to see like extra gameplay features and all this extra stuff. I go, dude, it's not next gen. I had a conversation with this on a podcast. I'm like, it's not next gen. This is the same generation.
Well,
you don't got to name them. Like, here's the thing. Yeah. People just don't
there's one more thing. I said, what kind of logic is that you expect more gameplay features and a bigger like gaming experience? It's like asking a PC gamer who upgrades to a 1070 Ti that
he's like, wait, can I do something else that the 1070 can't do if I buy this?
Why are there not more missions in this game? I upgraded my graphics card.
Oh man, it's absolutely crazy, man.
You know, this kind of goes along with this. I've got a question from Darth Vicious. He wanted to know about the X1X not being pushed to its limits yet. He wants to know if we think that 4K natively will be done for most games once the developers understand how to utilize this true power. So what do you guys think about that?
Well, I got to give a shout out to the Black One. Thanks, bud. We're doing pretty good. Thanks for the donation, man. Whether or not it's 4K, honestly, man, as you're seeing with games that aren't 4K right now, there are some on the console. The games just look substantially better. That's all I care about, you know?
Yeah.
It's a good question, though.
Yeah.
A damn good question.
Yeah, because you know how everybody's been talking about, you know, it's not uncompromised 4K. They lied. Microsoft lied to us. All that BS.
All of their games are native 4K right now. Every one of them. All of Microsoft's games are native 2160p. So I don't really want to hear that bullshit. That's just from people that can't. Don't, like, what did you say in your last video? Don't criticize Microsoft for what they're doing right.
Exactly.
That is the stupidest shit that you can do. Criticize them on what they're doing wrong. What they're trying to fix is the game situation. They've invested $1 billion. They said this 8 months ago. Nobody gave a shit then. They redid it again. They said it the other day. The media picked up on it. Now people care. They've been working on this games thing for quite some time. And just like the hardware, just like we told you the hardware was coming, we'll have new games before you know it. Every year you get new games. We got 3 exclusives in the first 4 months next year. So I don't want to hear any of that crap either.
It's pretty obvious why people are still hating on the X. And that was another question by Ray Lobato. Good question, Ray. Basically, everybody's hating on the X because honestly, some are jealous. Some are like looking at this console and they're saying, wow, this thing is awesome. And it's better than maybe their preferred console. So that's my thought.
You got people that buy it and they keep the receipt because they know they're going to buy it, make a video about how they took it back.
Yeah,
that's exactly what some of these people are doing. They have it for one day, try 1 or 2 games, and say it's just like the Pro. I'm like, you didn't even try the games with the 4K assets. You have no clue what that looks like. Tomb Raider's assets really make that game stand out from the Pro.
You've got the Pro also, dealer, right?
Yeah.
So you're like me. This console, and I'm just basing it on console versus console, is nothing like the fucking Pro. I'm tired of hearing that shit. Like, yes, it's a mid-gen upgrade, and that is where it stops. After that, this console blows away that fucking Pro. I'm sorry.
This is just the beginning. This is just the beginning. And Titan, I want to know your thoughts on this because the parity bullshit, because here's how it's not like the Pro. Now, I just mentioned Wolfenstein, and Digital Foundry said this in their very own video. I used part of that clip in my last video where they said it's surprising how much Wolfenstein 2 runs at native 4K, where the Pro maxes out at 1440p. So that's 3.6 million pixels compared to over 8 on the X. Now, this is why this is important. Not only is there a pretty good difference when you have that much more pixel density on a 4K screen, but this is important because in the future, those extra pixels are going to get turned into effects, and they're going to keep resolutions tolerable for longer. It is a much more future-proof console. Add to that you're going to get 4K texture packs, high-resolution textures that become the norm over the next 2 and 3 years. You're not going to get any of that on the Pro. We've already seen several games that use textures that the Pro cannot get already, and it's week 2. So what do you think about this parity crap, Drago?
Well, I mean, essentially here it is. Like, you know, everyone's saying, you know, the One X has just started its life cycle. It's not even close to being tapped out, and essentially the PS4 Pro is tapped out. I mean, you've seen what it can do, and it can do no more.
That's running games at 1200p already.
Yeah, I mean, that's all I have to say about that.
Man, so I mean, I think you nailed it on the head there, though. We've already seen games falling to almost 1080p on the Pro. And some games like Hellblade running much lower than that in certain modes. You know, it's not exactly indicative of the best case scenario, but I'm just saying it's clear one has a much higher ceiling than the other. Anybody else got any of this parody bullshit opinions, anything to do with this? We've been getting a lot of shit for a year now or more about this. Nobody? Nobody?
Yeah, I mean, I honestly... well, I don't have a Pro, so I
Okay.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
there's not much.
You've been hearing a lot of shit though on Twitter though.
Yeah, I
before this
mean,
thing
I've
came
heard a
out.
lot of shit. I've seen a lot of those people posting that, oh, there's not going to be any parity. Why would they develop for the X? People who just like they just come out and they sound like they're just sure of it, right? And I'm just over here like, how can you know that for sure? You're just making an assumption. These people have made so many claims, and then I don't see them. Like you, dealer, I don't see these people around anymore. They're fucking off in witness protection because, you know, a lot of people, they screenshot this shit and then they use it against them later. So honestly, if you're on the internet, do not say anything stupid because someone will use it against you, okay? Think before you tweet. And not everyone knows everything, you know, so just be mindful of what you're saying. I'm just happy that they're utilizing the power of the X, and I really do believe that it's only going to get better. You know, if you think about the games that came out for the 360 at the beginning and then look at what they were doing at the end of the generation, it's just kind of like, wow, okay, let's see what these devs can do when they actually have the X in mind, because they're just going back and patching games, but now they're going to be developing these games with the X in mind. And I'm excited. I'm really excited. And I'm sick of people complaining. Like, I've seen the people who have been like, yeah, the Xbox One X, it sucks. And it's just kind of like, I know it's hard to believe, but there are people who will go out of their way to buy this system just to say that it sucks because they are fanboys and they hate it that much. There are people who are like that. People who buy systems just so they can just say, hey, you know what? I had the system, so it justifies my point. But they never had any intention on keeping the system. They went in and they got this system with a bad outlook, you know, and they already knew what they were going to feel about it at the end. So I'm sick of people complaining. Just let people enjoy their fucking system, dude. Like, let people enjoy their games. You always see people going on and on and on about how Xbox doesn't have any games. Like, someone even said that to me, like, oh, you don't have any games. I'm like, what am I playing right the fuck now? I'm playing Wolfenstein 2. I'm playing Assassin's Creed. I go back every now and then and play Destiny. I have games to play. Maybe you should be focusing on your games instead of bothering me on Twitter, because it's clear that you have all this free time to bother me on Twitter instead of playing your fucking games. Yo, what's your fucking PSN?
He knew you had games. He knew you had games, Luca.
Your Xbox Live account.
Playing the same games you are. Wolfenstein, Assassin's Creed, Call of Duty, Star Wars Battlefront soon. We're all playing the same shit right now. So I wanted to talk about, finish this parody part up with the numbers from Call of Duty. The Pro has lost that comparison, and that's a marketing game. Keep that in mind. We said marketing wouldn't necessarily influence these things. A lot of Sony guys said there's no way this game will run better. Sony's got marketing. And then when I would quickly point out, hey, Witcher 3 ran at a high resolution on the Pro. Battlefield 1 ran at a high resolution on the Pro, or on the PS4, the base console, and those are both marketing deals with Xbox. So you can't just use marketing deals, and this is proof. Call of Duty World War II runs substantially higher pixel density. It's also got better ambient occlusion and shadows on the X. Star Wars Battlefront 2 will be a higher resolution on the X. I think it might have better textures as well. Not sure on that just yet. You've also got Wolfenstein 2, which we just covered, running over double the pixel density. They could ramp up every setting in the book on that game if they wanted to. They just wanted it to fill 4K screens the best they possibly could. There's just a lot of stuff going on here, and even the Sony marketing games are getting destroyed. So much for the 8.4 titty flops. So I do want to move on to an
computing power.
Yeah, Mark Cerny math. So a lot of these guys, I can't believe some of these channels made videos talking about 8 teraflops on the PS4. They don't even know what rapid path math is or any of that stuff, talking about it, and that's what happens. Now look at them.
Yep.
You got no 8.4 teraflops. NPD analysts basically raising predictions for the Xbox One X sales. We're going to get into some numbers later in the show, but this is a good sign, Fonz. What do you think about the sales projections being raised on this thing already? All right, Fonzarelli died. How about you, Colt?
I think we lost Colt.
Really? Where did everyone go? Hang on, I'm looking at the chat. I'm multitasking here. Fonz, are you there? All right, Drago. What about you?
Let's just say that again, man.
NPD numbers.
I have no comment on that. I think we got Colt back, though.
All right, NPD numbers. What the X is doing a lot better than people's.
Well, projections are already way up already. Just 2 weeks in.
I mean, isn't it cute though, dealer? Everyone said the system wouldn't sell. You remember that? You remember them saying that? Like, yeah, that's funny.
Common sense. I mean, Xbox made the best system. It's gonna sell. It's the best. People want the best products, no matter.
Power doesn't matter anymore, Drago. Remember that? So it's all about the games, and that's why this thing definitely outsold the Pro already in the UK at the same point in its life cycle. So, Cole, are you back yet, man? I have no clue. We're having technical difficulties.
Colt is gone.
Yeah, you were gone too. We called on you.
Well, no, I texted you and told you to be right back, man.
Oh, yeah, I ain't paying attention to that shit. Yeah, if you got to go or something pops up, just let us know. What do you think about the fact that these NPD analysts are already raising their predictions for the X sales?
I think that they're just going based off of how it's been selling so well right now. I mean, what else can they do at this point? They were originally wrong, and now they're trying to right that wrong by seeming like they're right. And come on, it's obvious, right? I mean, that's what they're doing.
It is kind of funny though. They'll adjust the forecast. Oh, it's picking up steam, and then when it sells what they adjusted it to, I was right.
I mean, be honest. When this all started, when we heard this thing was coming out, at first I thought this is only going to sell to the hardcore Xbox dude. Originally, that's what I was thinking. But I think a lot more than just Xbox dudes are buying this console. Matter of fact, I know that's the truth because I've got some PlayStation friends who are talking about coming back to Xbox because of the X. So
I mean, you can use yourself as an example as well because you were heavily on the PlayStation until the X.
Well, for me, it was always about power anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like last gen, I loved the 360, and there wasn't really a power disparity there. It was pretty much even keel. At the end, I think Sony started to do a little bit better with that power narrative. But, by then it was just like, okay, I switched over to the PS4 because it was going to be the most powerful console. And now I'm back to the X. And people are switching over. I don't care what some of these ponies are saying. There's guys out there that really like this X for what it is. How could you not? It's a great console. Stop talking shit.
Yeah, Def Jam Bam says, I thought it wasn't going to sell at $500. So that's a good point. They also said that the things they've said, and a lot of them have flip-flop. Shout out to 700 people watching us live. Hit that like button, guys. We appreciate it. Thanks for the support. Forbes also says, and keep in mind, Forbes, these guys are condescending. They're assholes. Honestly, I can't believe they have such an amateur fanboyish writing staff. Like even their objective pieces take shots at, they mentioned fanboys in their articles. I thought Forbes was kind of above this, but even they say everyone in the office is blown away.
Yeah, Luca and I want to cover this because I highlighted like 5 just moronic statements this guy said. I'm gonna say these statements, and I'm gonna turn it over to Luca because we're both equally perturbed. I don't know if that's a word that Luca would use at her age.
No, it's something I would use.
He says, who on earth wants a premium $500 console when every other system is $100 or $300 cheaper? Well, a lot of people, it turns out. It seems the fanboys were right.
Yep.
So the smart people, I guess he means smart people by fanboys.
I mean, yeah, like literally though. Yeah. I mean, I'm just kind of baffled, really, because I can write better than this tool. Like, you're gonna use fanboys, and then my dude Enrique came at me. He's like, the article actually, I didn't see it being condescending. I'm like, dude, he called people who bought X's fanboys, and then he said that Aaron Greenberg sounded like Donald Trump, and then Enrique's like, oh, okay. I'm like, okay, like what the fuck? Like,
so Enrique didn't read it, basically.
I guess not.
His opening statement should have, instead of "it seems the fanboys are right," he should have said, "I guess all the analysts and the journalists were wrong." It's really what he should have said. If you're being way more honest.
Facts.
So here's Aaron Greenberg. Here's Aaron Greenberg's tweet, and you tell me if this sounds like something Trump would say. Huge thanks to everyone for their support at Xbox One X. Great initial results, not just in the UK, but seeing similar results across Europe and North America's numbers are much bigger. Amazing first week.
For one, I mean, I want to leave politics out of this shit, but yeah, that doesn't sound like it. That sounds like something that someone that works for any company would say. I don't think that's irrational. I think the guy who wrote the article we're talking about is a complete moron. Fire yourself. Yes. That's something that maybe someone should say. And you're an idiot. That's just a fact. So
Yeah, it's like even when they're being positive, and I'm using quotation marks here, positive about the X because they don't have a choice but to say, yeah, okay, yeah, it's selling well, yeah. They still have to throw those shots in because they don't like the system and they don't like Xbox gamers. Like, it's clear from what this guy was saying that he doesn't like us, and it's clear that he's salty about the fact that he was wrong. Come on, fanboys, really? Like, there are other people who bought this system, not just fanboys, quotation marks, you know? It's ridiculous. And whenever I see anyone just defending stuff like this, I'm like, okay, listen, the media bias thing, I'm kind of on and off about that. But this is clearly this guy just being a dick, all right? He's being a dick and he's being an idiot.
He's just gotten shit in the past for saying dumb shit and praising the pro. And when the Xbox came out and it didn't have an exclusive at launch, just like the Pro, these same people would criticize Microsoft, and they got destroyed, and they're a little salty about it, and it's fine. It happens. It is what it is.
He said it's frankly miraculous that Microsoft has done all this without a big exclusive title this year besides Forza. So what big exclusive titles
within a few weeks of launch? I mean, come on.
Wait, what 3 big games are coming this holiday? Are going to be here on the X that are exclusives? Cuphead, huge game. Forza 7, huge game, and PUBG.
PUBG.
I mean, he's so dumb, and he says like, and frankly, he says something like, "You're basically wrong about what you thought these consoles are going to sell." It's like he says you've been wrong about predicting. It's like, no, we haven't. It's the fans of Xbox have a pretty good idea what this thing's going to do. It's been Pactor and this Paul Tassel guy. It was Paulie Tassels. They're the ones that have been wrong about this.
Hey, Brian in the chat, he says it too. Hey, Pro didn't have shit last year when it launched. Nothing. As a matter of fact, their big game, Horizon Zero Dawn, got pushed up to early 2017. Crackdown.
They had Last Guardian.
They had a lot of multiplats at that time that were big multiplats, just as the X has some big multiplats right now. So I mean, it's kind of the same thing, honestly, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm defending my Pro, damn it, because I like my Pro unlike you.
No, that's fine, Fonz. Like, I'm just saying that there's a double standard here, and I don't understand when people point out the hypocrisy, why they attack us. You know?
The double standard is there when they say, well, you've got no games. Well, there was no games then for the PS4 Pro when it comes to exclusives when it came out. All they had was Last Guardian. Let's be honest.
Was in December.
Yeah, and guess what? Here's what I think of Last Guardian. It's still packaged. I still have it wrapped up and packaged. Never opened the damn thing. It was a gift, and I don't think I ever will.
Hey, I got to give a shout out to Y9 Power. What's going on, brother? Thanks for joining the show live. We appreciate it. Hit that like button if you guys can. It helps a lot more than you know, actually. Xbox game gifting coming to the console for everybody starting today. You can now gift games to your friends, receive games. A lot of people are like, why do I want to gift games? I'm poor. Well, hey, maybe you can get some games. That's the bright side of this. So,
the Ash and Luca on Xbox Live, I need Call of Duty World War II.
Actually, Luca doesn't need anything.
I absolutely
a ton
do
of free
that.
games.
No, I don't know. I don't know this man, but you know, just hit me. Just hit me on Xbox.
She's working with Forbes.
Nah.
No.
IGN as well. So
wait a minute, Luca. I was going to ask you this. I forgot. Luca, do you think that people at the whole Forbes office that does all the write-ups for their web and their magazine, do you think they take that guy's like video gaming articles? Like, he's got to be like the joke of the whole office when he comes walking into the conference. Oh, here comes Paul, Mr. Video Game Writer, writing about video games. He's like, shut up, guys. Hey,
I think that's awesome. I think that's possible. I don't look. I'm not sure. You know, I don't know too much about the writing industry, with the journalism industry and stuff. But the fact of the matter is, video games are not respected.
Yes.
Typically by the masses.
I mean that both ways.
Yeah. So if you're a video game journalist, there's probably people who side eye you, like other journalists who are like, "Oh, this guy, he's writing about children's stuff. He's not a real journalist," you know?
Right. Being at Forbes, I mean, it's probably the joke of the office. He writes for video games suck. So that sucks, you know. But I mean, do it with some respect.
What do you think about this Forbes fuckface, Drago?
Oh, God, don't get me started on those guys. But I'm going to take a step back and school the people out there about exclusives real quick, because I'm literally sick of hearing the convoluted frame of mind from ponies. And let me just say this. If you like PlayStation, that's fine. But when you cross the line of ridiculousness, that's where you become a pony. And people say the Xbox exclusives that are on PC are not exclusives, but they're console exclusives, meaning PlayStation and Nintendo can't have them. Xbox shares a lot of its games with the computer, and that's a good thing. Xbox also plays with and against people on PC. Another good thing. Sony doesn't do either. Mm-hmm. And that's the only negative in this picture. I mean, you guys got anything more to say about that?
I mean, that's a good point. Well. Added flexibility with Xbox playing. Hey, Y9 Power, bro. Thanks. Super chat. We appreciate it, bro. How you been? Thanks for joining us. Man, people are awesome. So that's a good point, Drago. I mean, it's more flexibility. People did not complain about cross-buy when it was the Vita. Now with the Xbox, all that means you don't have exclusives anymore. And, we're all playing multiplats right now. We all enjoy multiplats. There are tons of games on both sides, and whether or not you like them or not, that's all opinion,
True.
Exactly.
So that's why I'm enjoying Tomb Raider so much right now. It's it gives any open world action adventure game a run for its money.
That's a good point, man. that you brought up though, Dealer. That's just what it is. It's opinions by people. Stop getting so offended by people's opinions sometimes. It's like that guy that works for Forbes that's writing that stuff. I mean, does it really affect you at the end of the day? Just ignore it.
Hey, no, it didn't, did it, Luca?
Shout out to Aldi Digital in the chat, bro. How you been? Where you at, man? What are you in the bathroom watching us on the phone? What are you doing?
Yeah, he's not working. I mean, he's working, but he's not working.
Blow up the birthday cake.
It's just kind of like, it's just us reporting on stuff that happens in the industry. It's not like it really affects me or Colt. We don't care.
No, it does get old, doesn't it, Luca?
Yeah, it gets old, but I just I have a hard time actually caring about any of this stuff. But since we're on a gaming podcast and it was something that Colt wanted to talk about,
throws me under the bus.
Exactly. No, I wanted to talk about it too because that guy is definitely a fuckface.
So basically, Colt was crying in DMs. Okay, all right, Colt, we got you.
Yeah,
I got a shoulder for you to lean on, brother.
Thanks, buddy.
I do want to get us back on track because
why?
Gotta be so Xbox game gifting, it is here for everybody. If you haven't gotten the update, maybe hard reboot your console, check the settings, see if you can get it. I think it's going to be pretty cool. So, of course, add your friends, maybe help someone in need out. The Arc Survivally Evolved developer says the Xbox One X GPU is a monster when compared to any other console out there. Got a substantial amount of overhead on it, so they got a lot more room to work with. That game's still glitchy as fuck, though. I tried it. Looks a lot better. It's got a 1440 and a 1080 mode. But it's still just glitchy.
I'm with you, brother. I tried it too, and I thought, really? You guys put a lot of effort into this? Okay. Next. It's one of those games that is just not optimized very well at all. It's like, to me, I don't think that. What else do these guys have under their belt besides this game?
Studio Wildcard. That's a really cool fucking studio name. I hope they had more than one game. That'd be
because my point is, I'm like scratching my head. Like, do they know how to make games? Because this one just feels like, man, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean,
they're figuring it out as they go along.
Multiple platforms. It's an MMO. It's an actual MMO, and I don't know, man.
Yeah, it runs terrible on the base model. It runs better on the X, but still, it's got some hiccups here and there. And
yeah,
it doesn't look all that great.
It's like a half-done game. It still feels
it's just poorly optimized. But I heard it's even poorly optimized for the PC as well. So it's like it's just a bad game.
I wouldn't say it's a bad game. It's got its audience, and it's just not for us.
I'm not talking about the game in general, like the gameplay. I'm talking about how it's not optimized, basically.
Yeah. Well, I did want to talk about an issue with the Xbox One X because we want to cover that stuff. It is worth talking about. But you did kind of cover this earlier. The Xbox One X Blu-ray player was having very grayed out black levels. It's a 4K Ultra HD player. And, of course, Mike Ybarra came out and said, hey, we're going to fix that next week, right?
Yeah, they said that they're going to fix it in a couple of days. It said it said a few days. That's all it said.
Yeah, they probably already got the patch on the way out for that. So, yeah, if you're watching a movie, I already watched a movie on it, and I thought it looked really good. So I don't know if that's for everybody or.
Well, here's the thing. I did a side-by-side comparison with my Oppo to a 3-player compared to the Xbox One X, and there's definitely a difference in the black levels. It's gray.
Gotcha.
It needs to be fixed.
Okay. Yep. So they did say they were working on that. By the way, for those curious, Xbox One X already has around 100 enhanced titles live in week 2. So a lot of stuff to play, a lot of really good stuff to play. I heard somebody say Evil Within was running pretty close to 4K on the X. I think around 1800p. I'm not sure. And the PS4 Pro version was 1200p. Just somebody asked me that on Twitter just now. That's the most I know about it, though. I think it might have a 60 FPS mode or an unlocked frame rate mode on the X, just so you know. So I'm actually thinking about getting that game just to check it out. I beat the first one. I don't meet many people that have. Anyone else here beat the first one? No?
Too scared.
Too scared. Wow.
All right. Well, I did want to cover something. It's kind of a more of an opinion piece real quick. I guess it's not an opinion because it's a fact, but a lot of people, let's say I was picking up my Xbox One X, right? I was in the store. I was waiting in line. I heard the GameStop employee telling people that Call of Duty World War II was 70 gigabytes already, and every single game on the X adds 100 gigabytes. She said the game is 170 gigabytes on the X. So I'm looking at it. I'm like, what the fuck? This game's like 50-something gigs, I think, on the X after it's patched. And this leads to a big misconception with the X. The X has a few big games. Gears of War 4 and Halo 5 have received constant updates every single month since their release. 2 years for Halo, 1 year for Gears now. They have grown substantially since launch, like any game that constantly gets DLC and maps do. That's one reason those games were already around 80 gigabytes in size, right?
Yeah.
These patches have raised the size of Gears 4 by like 20 gigabytes, I think. But people think that these patches are absolutely massive, like 50 gigs on average, 100 gigabytes, that games are doubling in size.
No.
Assassin's Creed Origins is 44 gigs patched.
Yeah, the games that I have on average, I think if I had to give you an average on what the size is with enhancements, it's about 55 gigs.
Yeah, that's the total file size for my average patch game, probably. A lot of them are less.
Yep.
Now, of course, like Tomb Raider, right? This is one reason Tomb Raider looks so much better on the X over the Pro. That 4K assets that they've downloaded to the console that the X can use with the additional bandwidth and RAM, you don't get that on the Pro. So the patch for Tomb Raider on the X was 31 gigabytes. That's bigger than the whole game was on the Xbox One before the X came out. So it's going to vary, but the biggest patch size I've seen is like 30 gigabytes. And that's not exactly common right now. So just know that, you know, it's not as crazy as what people are saying. The download sizes do vary. The Assassin's Creed patch was half a gigabyte. Other patches like Tomb Raider are pretty big.
Yeah, I overstated that in one of my videos, and Dealer corrected me. I think I said some games average 100 or 120 gigs, but I think that's
you did it to bulletproof everything, you know. You did it to bulletproof your statement.
Yeah, because, you know, if I say the game's average at 60 to 80 gigs, you know, some guy's going to say, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
I found a game
Halo
700,000 gigs.
Yeah. Yeah. Halo 5
I was actually just
Complaining about the strangest things. File sizes. Like, the bigger the file, the better the update's going to be.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Yeah. I was just trying to give people an idea how many of these 4K enhanced games are going to load up on your 1 terabyte. But how many do you think it is, Dealer? Like
1 terabyte?
15
well,
games?
Keep in mind that no hard drive has the advertised amount of space. So, like the PS4 Pro hard drive has around 700 gigs, I think, when it was brand new.
Hearing the same
thing with the X. So, a lot of that space is taken by the OS and stuff. So, you got about 700 gigs of that 7,200 RPM internal on the X. I'm starting to store stuff there just to make sure things are very consistent. But you probably fit, I don't know, on average 50 gigs a game. Some games are 60. Probably anywhere from 15 games to, you know, maybe 18 games, maybe.
Yeah, and that was the norm before. I mean, it's not a big deal.
Yeah, it is what it is. I mean, you pay for the console to get the bigger, higher resolution 4K assets. Luca seeing a whole new world of clarity now.
I don't.
It's pretty beautiful.
I don't think I've ever seen my consoles have 15 to 18 games on them at one time. I never play that many games at once. I just, you know, once I'm done, I just get rid of them, go on to the next. It's weird.
Well, the hard drives are so ridiculously easy to use now. It's like, who cares?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah. When I went back to games, I just re-download the game, and my saves are there. It's like, who cares? It's quick. Honestly, it's quick to download these games now. If you have decent internet, it's not that hard, man.
Yeah, I've got the 1 terabyte internal, a 4 terabyte Western Digital Black, which is the hard drive I recommend. I get that question 1,000 times a week. So they're pretty cheap. Black Friday, keep an eye out for, a brand like Western Digital, good performance, good warranty, and is reliable. That's the most important thing. You don't want those things to crash on you. So yeah, I would recommend trying to find one of those 4 terabyte or higher for longevity. There's probably someone in the chat. Somebody, who was it? I was doing Iron Lords podcast. If you haven't checked that out, check that out over on the Tick podcast channel. And somebody there had 18 terabytes or something like that of storage.
Damn.
That's, that GameStop lady went to his house and said, "You know how big these games are?"
Damn.
That's what I'm guessing happened. But yeah, shout out to those guys. It was a great show. So we've also got to the Xbox One S Black Friday deals. Keep in mind, Microsoft have already said that there are going to be 0 deals for the Xbox One X on Black Friday from them. Retailers might say, all right, whatever, we'll take a few bucks off. But they're not doing what they're doing with the Xbox One S. X1S on Black Friday, I think, with games is 189 gigs. Did anybody, or gigs, I'm talking about hard drives now, dollars. Did anybody really looked into this at all, Colt? Did you see any Black Friday stuff?
Yeah, the 189 is going to be the holiday price for the S. But I didn't look at the bundles. I mean, I haven't even heard about the bundles for TVs, but I'm not in the know right now. I just bought my Scorpio, and I'm not looking at other deals yet.
Well, I'm calling it right now. During Black Friday or Cyber Monday, some pony out there, someone's going to build a PC equivalent to an Xbox One X for $500. I'm calling it now. Get ready for that.
No, they can do it, but then they got to remember that, most people, they're trying, because when they do that, they're trying to persuade you to come over to PC. It's just as cheap, right? But when they do that, they got to remember that console guy's probably not going to build their own PC, so that destroys their whole build right there. So no one really gives a shit, you know
what I got to say about this this price reduction on this S model is save your money and get the X, damn it, because you're wasting your time on that S.
Even with the 1080p screen, I mean, some people say they can't tell from the Pro
the performance alone is just so much better on the X. It's literally night and day with the S and the X. I said it. Okay, it's night. Well,
I mean, a lot of games are running, 800p. I think Assassin's Creed Origins scales as low as 792p. We haven't seen that since Titanfall, right? Titanfall 1 in 2014. That scales as low as 7092. I mean, you're getting 1080p cap on every single game with the X plus whatever additional effects you're going to be able to see on the screen. So if you play Gears of War in 1080p mode at 60, you still see all of the effects. If you play in the 4K Super Sample mode, you still see the better textures, the better draw distance, the foliage, the reflections. That game looks phenomenal in either mode, man. So you get all that regardless.
You know what? So to all the grandmothers and parents out there, buy your kid the X. They'll love you more for it.
Well, hey, what some people might not love is the new avatars have been delayed. You remember the crazy ass Avatar trailer we saw a while back? They got delayed to early 2018. Like I said before, those
creepy girl you didn't like.
Yeah, the creepy bitch. People are like, "What do you mean she's freaky? She's got a robot arm. There's nothing wrong with that." And like I was making fun of one-handed people. It's like it's got nothing to do with that. Did you see her grin? Look like Chucky.
She did look kind of sadistic.
She looked crazy, but that feature's been delayed to early 2018. It is powered by the Unity game engine. That's probably why. It's pretty in depth. It actually looks pretty awesome. Hey, they're not going to force you to make one, but for those that do, you can fool around with the Avatar system early next year. Luca, what do you think about this Avatar system? Have you seen it?
Yeah, I've seen it. I don't really care. I'm not going to utilize it or anything like that. So.
Okay.
Yeah, I like having my logo. Like some of us.
Yeah, me too.
Like our social media stuff, or if we have channels, we like having that stuff on our channel. But also, if you want dynamic themes, they do have that My Theme Xbox app that has like a selection of 50 or 100 limit animation backgrounds that you can put. Have you guys tried those? I got like this pixel art, like Blade Runner type thing going on. I got to reapply it to the X now.
I do want to.
Cool.
That's a good point that you brought that app.
It's free.
There's a lot of people that don't know about it. Go to the store, go to the apps, type in "theme by Xbox," and you can literally use custom themes, all kinds of themes. It's actually pretty awesome.
Yeah, it is, and it's free. It's a free app, and the icon is like in rainbow color and it has the Xbox logo. I'm gonna install it right now while we're talking.
Hey, shout out to everyone watching us live, guys. Hit that like button. We appreciate it. We did want to run through the small problems, the small percentage of problems. I think we already mentioned this in the show, but I did want to double down on this because some people's systems are kind of acting funny, and some are not even working, and it's a very small percentage. Keep that in mind. But Microsoft haven't even made an official announcement or a statement about this. That's how few there are, even though you see videos about it. That's just because that's where we live in social media.
Yeah, exactly. We live in a day and age where everybody's posting about, what they had for breakfast. So of course, when they're pissed off, they're going to put out there, my Xbox One X is broke. Holy shit. I'd be pissed off too. And I'd probably post something like that as well. But that's what we got to understand. Like we just live in a time where we've got all this shit flying at us at once, and we're going to hear about this stuff. Yeah.
And Microsoft are replacing those free of charge, by the way. So they're doing what they should do. The issue is not big enough now to where they're even acknowledging it in some kind of press release, like with the PS4. When they launched, they had several 100,000 launch with faulty HDMI ports in 2013. You guys remember that?
Yep.
That was a massive issue where hundreds of thousands of PS4s were having bad HDMI ports. It's nothing even close to anything like that, but they are replacing systems that are malfunctioning. So Ubisoft, talking about the PS5, they say that it is a minimum of 2 years away before they start hearing about this. So keep that in mind. It's not next year. They're saying it's a minimum, meaning there's no way that it's coming out or they're hearing about it before the next 2 years. Not before, only after. So they're saying there's still
Who honestly thought it was coming out next
year? You'd be surprised, Drago.
That Damian Wong guy, whatever, was jumping on that with Michael Pachter is saying 2019. I'm still lining up with 2019. I'll say 2019 until that E3 comes and I'm proven wrong.
I think Colt, is PS5 still coming?
Yeah, I mean, I told you. I guess I did the video. I don't do a video unless I know what I'm talking about.
I say late 2019, early 2020 at the latest.
2019 is the absolute earliest you hear anything.
Oh, of course.
2019.
Yeah, because it gives them that 3 years from the Pro completion to come out with PS5. But I just can't see Sony. There's two reasons. I can't see Sony getting sat on by the Scorpio this long, the X.
Well,
and the other reason,
what if they don't do backwards compatibility?
No, I think they will. That was my Titan makes a good point. That was my second one. I was going to say, I think that the PS4 can still continue to thrive very healthily in the market and still sell because the PS5 will be x86 architecture. It will have full forward and backward compatibility with the PS5. People can still continue to buy a $300 PS4 Pro in 2019 or upgrade to a $500 PS5. That's like a no-brainer for Sony.
And I think that's going to happen for the X as well. I think that probably in 2021, I'd say we might get a new X.
Well, so that's kind of why it's big news, though, guys, is because you got one of the biggest publishers in the world saying we have nothing official, but the fastest, the closest that you even hear whispers about PS5 is a minimum of 2 years away. So
they don't need to push one out right away. I mean, come on, they're sitting high atop the throne. Yeah. There's no reason for them to panic right now. They're going to sell their exclusives. They've got a lot of great exclusives coming next year. And then the following year, they can just work towards putting all their great exclusives on the PS5.
And what's more, graphics don't matter now, though, too.
But I've been hearing rumors that The Last of Us 2 will be coming out on the PS5.
Well, there are no official rumors of anything, though. Keep that in mind. That's just people talking.
No, yeah, but that's
we do know that Naughty Dog has just recently this year, probably in this spring or summer, started actual real development on The Last of Us 2. So that is a game that they could just build with whatever power the PS5 could have.
Yeah. And again,
they can play that in mind.
They can play it on the PS4 or get the PS5 and play it with extra bells and whistles like the X.
Yeah, imagine The Last of Us 2 on the PS4 Pro. It'll freaking look amazing.
Yes,
and then it'll have that extra oomph on the PS5. Sony can't lose by trying to keep a schedule of getting PS5 in 2019, maybe 2020. I mean, I don't think it's much longer than that, really, but that's my opinion. And
well, like
that's
I said, guys, when they heard about them, now that the X is out, they're talking about PS5, but then they'll turn around and say that graphics don't matter, the power of the X doesn't matter. And you know what I'm saying? Just make up your minds, guys, because we are keeping track of the flops and the flips, and it's a good circus down there. We're enjoying it. Xbox One X sold 80,000 units in the UK in its first week on sale. We have no numbers for the US, but as you cited earlier, Aaron Greenberg said that the numbers are much bigger in the US, and they're seeing similar numbers to 80,000 all across Europe, meaning each territory.
Aaron Greenberg sent out this tweet. This is the tweet Aaron Greenberg sent out after the sales. Sales were huge. So I trumped it up.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Can you read the actual tweet, or do you have it up?
I don't have it up again, but he said.
So yeah, he said that they were similar numbers all across Europe, meaning 80K, 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 right? And then he said the numbers were much larger, of course, in the biggest market, the US, the home territory as well.
And what did it match? What did the sales match for launch week? First 7 days,
Nintendo Switch
X matched. Yeah, the launch,
and that's at $300 as opposed to $500. Keep that in mind.
And that's true. And it beat the Pro 1.6 times in the first 7 days.
But Colt, the Pro had a shortage issue. Come on now.
The Pro.
Why would people even saying that? Why would they even say that after seeing how few of the Xbox One X's they were able to get out before launch? Like, are you not seeing these things go on eBay?
That's obvious. It's the.
I mean, both consoles had shortages.
So they sold 80,000 over there, but 50,000 went back broke.
No.
Yeah, right.
So it took the Pro an entire month to hit 80,000 sales in the UK, and it took the X 7 days.
The Pro at $100 less only did 50K in the first week. It did 80K in the first month. The X1X matched the Switch for $200 more with no games, quote unquote. And it did 80K in the first week. Who knows what it's going to do in the first month? Well over 100K. Probably double the numbers of the Pro. Funny how we're seeing that turnaround, right? And I think that's awesome. U.S. sales are apparently much better. Projections are going up, as we covered earlier in the show. Luca, what do you think about this stuff? It's good to kind of see positivity in this realm for Xbox.
I'm just really happy that it's selling well. I mean, I'm also a little bit confused. I mean, I thought a $500 system wouldn't sell at all, dealer. Like, I'm still trying to wrap my mind around what everyone was saying about that. I mean, like, are people going to admit that they were wrong about this, or
no? They'll spin it and they'll change narratives. Drago, I want to know how much you think this thing's going to do before 2018. What do you think it's going to do November 7th to January 1st? 2 months.
I mean, I think it's going to keep on its path. I don't think it's going to slow down anytime soon.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, the signs are good.
Yeah.
They're really good.
Why would it slow down? I mean, people that complain about exclusives, well, guess what? Next spring, there's all kinds of exclusives coming out.
Both platforms at least have some games. God of War supposed to come out early 2018. Spider-Man's later that year, and then you've got Crackdown, Sea of Thieves, and State of Decay 2. I cannot wait for that game. The first 4 or 5 months for Xbox. Both platforms have a lot of games next year, man.
Well, and that's something people have to understand too. It's getting a lot of hate where people are saying, yeah, those games are better than the Pro, but just barely better than the Pro, shit like that. But at the end of the day, they've got to realize that this stuff is just, these guys went back and patched these games. These developers just went back and patched these games for the X. This isn't like a game that they were working on currently and then pushing out there for the X or for the Pro. You know what I'm saying? So they can't really.
You don't even got to say that. All you got to do is say to those guys is go play Shadow War and say that. Go play Mafia 3 and say that. Go play Ark and say that.
I'm just saying that the games are going to get much better. I can see these games getting much better with these developers when they're much more comfortable with the dev kits and everything. I think that these games are going to look substantially better in the end because the power is there, and even the ponies cannot deny that. They know that the power is there. The
RAM is there, more importantly. That's why Tomb Raider looks so great.
It's just so funny that they keep sticking to this parody narrative, and it's not even working now. I mean, like you said, Shadow of War is fucking completely different on both consoles. You've got the soup and you've got the high res textures. You've got games like Mafia 3 that they didn't need to go back and patch that, but they went back and patched it, and they made that game look extraordinarily better than the PS4 Pro version.
It's got high resolution textures.
That's a heck of a risk to ask, for these developers to enhance a game on the smaller platform, which is the Xbox, for free. They're not getting paid to it. They're just enhancing it, hoping that maybe it'll revive sales on a game.
Yeah,
it's amazing what it's.
At the end of the day, it's like these devs, they put their lives into these games, and they want their games to look the best and run the best. I'm not surprised that they're going back and patching it. Why wouldn't they? If I was a developer, I would definitely do that because I want my game to look the best, and I want my game to play the best, and I want gamers to enjoy my game the way it's supposed to be played.
I think it's funny. Top Dog in chat said that I was damage controlling. Look, man, look. I love my Sony console.
I don't know. Top Dog, I think that's all he does is damage control.
I love my Sony exclusives, but at the end of the day, I go where that power is for my multi-plats. It was with the PS4 Pro, but it is no longer the PS4 Pro. If you really believe that, you are delusional, Top Dog.
Mm-hmm. You can't look at Shadow War even over YouTube with that comparison. You guys remember, it still burnt into your brains.
I could tell on my phone. That was the first time. That was the first time ever in a comparison from Digital Foundry that I could tell on my phone. And you know what, Fonz? Those games, the games are always going to be there. And people ask, why would you buy a new console just for better graphics? And I tell you guys, the games are always going to be there. And why not have something that makes them look better? The games that we love and that we enjoy, even if they're older games, if they look better, why not enjoy the great games that we're already going to
exactly. And everybody, that whole thing where people say, it doesn't have to look great to be a good game. Of course, that's the truth. Yeah, that's why people are buying Nintendo Switches and they want to play those games. It may look like ass, but guess what? They're fun to these guys. Mm-hmm. These games are fun. And yes, it's all about fun. But at the end of the day, if this same game is on two different platforms and one looks substantially better, of course you're going to want to play the one that looks substantially better and have the same amount of fun.
Well, hang on. Now we can use another thing against them. They used to tell me back in the day when I was out there with the sword and shield, they would say, hey, why would you pay $60 for an Xbox One version when the PS4 Pro version or PS4 version, you get so much more, it looks so much better. And now I ask you, why would you buy a PS4 Pro version when you get 4K assets and better settings and much higher pixel counts on the Xbox One X?
And the settings is what really sticks out to me when playing like Shadow of War. Like so much more crap is going on the screens because of those high settings.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I would also like to point out that, it baffles me that people would even ask that question. Like, why would you buy a system just because it has better graphics? Did we forget that PC players exist? Like,
that's all they do.
Are we going to deliberately forget about that? Guys, really?
All right. Well, I want to kind of sum it up like this because we're running long. I forgot to even check the time. Some people got their wish though. The show was a little longer. I do want to sum it up by saying if you could see the difference between 900p and 1080p, you can see the difference between 1440, 3.6 million pixels, and 4K, which is over 8 million. You can see it, and that's without the 4K assets, which are going to become more and more common. Trust me, just quit damage controlling and enjoy the console. It is what it is.
And let me say, the Assassin's Creed is running at twice the resolution most of the game compared to the Pro version. Okay, twice the resolution. The pixel count is just so much better.
It's just icing on the cake. I mean,
just watch Digital Foundry.
Just watch it. They know Digital Foundry. They got that shit bookmarked. So I do want to say thanks for showing up. 700 people watching live. And guys, we appreciate it. Hit that like button. Spoon, again, man, thanks for the super chat. You guys are awesome. Unexpected, but we do appreciate it. So we're going to start with outros, starting with Titan Drago. It was a quick hour, and, man, we even went long. It would have been even quicker. Hour and 20 minutes. Where can people find you? I want to send some people your way, brother. Where can they find you on YouTube? Spell it out for them if you got to. And Twitter, where can they find you there?
YouTube at Titan Drago. I'm here to bring the common back to sense.
I love it.
Yeah, at least go check Titan's channel out. If you like his content, show him some support, and hey, type in the comments "I sent you." That might help get the message out there.
Titan gets into it. So if you want to watch a video where someone's actually not just sitting there laying back being bored, like Titan really gets into it, and he sent me a couple links, and he's got gamer passion, baby. So go check him out. Give him some love.
I'm actually going to link his channel in the description, which is something I didn't have enough time to do before the show started because I was running late. Colt, what have you been up to, bro? Where can people find you, of course?
People are going to find me in My Games and Apps on the Xbox One X, installing all my new games. Yeah, you can find me on Xbox Live at Colt Eastwood. Add me on Twitter, same, Colt Eastwood. And my YouTube channel is also at Colt Eastwood. So, yeah, just check. Let's talk.
All right. What about you, Fonz? You just hit 1,000 subscribers yesterday. We hit that goal, man. What have you been up to? Where can people find you?
They can find me hiding under a rock from Top Dog. No, I'm just kidding. Honestly, they can find me, of course, here on YouTube and on Twitter at jfonzarelli. And I appreciate everybody out there. The chat, thank you for rocking out with us. And also to the frauds out there that have been hanging out with us the whole show, Top Dog. Awesome.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, guys.
Well,
Even Top Dog, baby.
All right, Luca, what about yourself? I know you're enjoying the X and stuff. You probably are going to be indisposed for a little bit, but where can people find you on Twitter, all that stuff? Where's that YouTube channel at?
It's coming. I'll talk to you about that later, dealer. I might need some help with that. But good show. Good show. Thanks to our Patreon guest. And you guys can find me at the Ash and Luca on Twitter. And I was gonna say something else. Oh, happy birthday all day. All day couldn't be with us.
Oh,
I don't know what the fuck that guy is doing. But it was good. It was a good show. And Colt, we totally destroyed that guy, and that was a lot of fun. So
Yeah, happy birthday all day. Just so you guys know, the guys watching, I did do a game giveaway here recently, about $100 worth of games given out to the patrons. If you're not a patron, consider doing so. The link's down below if you want to win some games. All that information is there. Until next week and the next video, of course, we're out, guys. Thanks for watching.
bye.